Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road. Plus Ultra.
Hey guys, and welcome back to What If Luffy Had Ate the Goro no Mi. Now, it's been a little minute and I apologize for that. I got lazy. I'll admit it. I'm be man admit that I got lazy and I've kind of forgot about this series. But here's part 6 to What If Luffy Ate the Goro no Mi. I ain't even gonna go into too much of a tangent, but just let's get where we left off. Now, Luffy and others are doing a 2-year time skip. Now, most of them already know how to use armament, well, basically hockey. Most of them already know how to use hockey, so they're just trying to get it to the advanced state. So basically, when the Straw Hats meet back up at Sabaody at 2 years later, after everything has happened, they are stronger than they're canon self. They're canon self, but at a much earlier position. So once everything been said with make quick work of everything that was there, the robots, basically get to their ship with ease. Everything that caused them trouble, but basically didn't cause them trouble at Sabaody. So yeah, now we're gonna skip past the whole descent down because that still plays out the same way. Only thing is that Luffy really didn't have to basically use his arm rubber or whatever kind of ability. Basically, he just used the lightning in the water to basically zap the fish, the octopus. Well, whatever. We don't too much get into that. So we now go to fast forward to Fishman Island. Now, once we get there, the pirates that caused Luffy and the Straw Hats trouble really didn't cause them much trouble at all. And of course, Luffy and them wouldn't get lost by the octopus of stuff like that, so they wouldn't get separated. So with all that being said, they would have a very smooth time on Fishman Island, solving all the problems that was happening on Fishman Island very quickly. Like the guy that was basically, what's the name, Arlong 2.0, they made quick work of him. He really didn't do much against the Straw Hats. Like, if Zoro was a problem in canon where he used his attack, but he's going to be more of a problem right now. So yeah, really didn't use much of that. So we won't even need to go over that. The only thing that's much interesting about this arc is that Luffy becomes friends with the giant mermaid, and the only thing that is very interesting is that Luffy's conversation with Big Mom. Now, Big Mom basically is on the other end of the phone, and she tells Straw Hat that, what do you think you're gonna do? You think you really have a chance against me? And Luffy just like has a big smile on his face, and he says, yeah, I really do. I really do think I have a good chance against you. Now, this would make Big Mom angry and scowl at Luffy's confidence or basically his cockiness. And she would tell him to, if you think that you can beat me, come to Whole Cake Island and I will show you how much of a threat that I can be. Now, of course, Luffy would accept this offer, and most of the Straw Hats were not even obliged by this. So with that being said, everything will play out like normal for Fishman Island. Now, with that being said, now we come to basically the Dressrosa arc, but we go to Punk Hazard. Now, with this arc, everything plays out the same way. Now, the only difference is that usually, like, Luffy's lightning abilities have become more useful to the point they don't have as much trouble fighting that dragon. Luffy shoots it down with so many lightning strikes that the dragon just comes incapacitated and just falls down. This is to where they find a pair of legs on the dragon, to which basically Luffy does the same thing he did in canon and wears the legs. It also shocks the legs at best, but Luffy then turns like, this is painful for the guy who's feeling this, but everything basically goes exactly the same way without too much of a dip. I guess that you can say with Luffy's lightning ability, he does help out a lot. And it basically stops Law from using that whole body switch thing by shocking the hell out of him. Just like that. And with that being said, and with that all being said, this arc to me, it was interesting. It was interesting, yet it was cruel. So that one thing about like Vegapunk testing on kids was basically what set Luffy off very angrily. It put a tick in Luffy's head to the point that he looked at Vegapunk and he wanted to shoot a lightning bolt through his chest, because how could someone do this to children? But what he does is just basically uses his haki and beats the living hell out of Vegapunk, and then lifts him up by his shirt and says, a person like you should cease to exist, but we need you for leverage, because I got a bone to pick with Doflamingo. Now with this, And they would save Punk Hazard and save the kids and basically take them to safety and all that kind of shit. Smoker would be there along with his assistant, and they would all like basically save them children from their harm. And this is where Luffy would tell Chopper that could he make some like a candy to basically negate the effects that this bastard was using his candy for, and it was making them grow. So Chopper would start to get to work with Nami's assistance and her intelligence, with Robin's assistance too. So that with the three of them together, they start to basically cohorts on how they can create some kind of candy to basically like negate the candy that basically this guy made. Anyway, so with all that being said, everything goes the same way, and then this is where Luffy and Law comes to talk with each other, and they both comes to terms, and they learn about making an alliance with each other to take down the four emperors. And Luffy is the one who suggested this. Instead of it being Law, it was Luffy this time around. Now Luffy would tell Law that he wants to take down each one of the four emperors, and he can't do that without, like, he has to do that first in order to become the king of the pirates. And also, he has to beat at least every last one of the Navy admirals, at least. And with that being said, so now we come to the point to where Luffy is now, they're all in Dressrosa. Now, everything plays out to the point to where Luffy joins the tournament, and he'll be shooting through people with a breeze too. He won't be trying to use too much of his powers, because Luffy's bounty right now is 1 billion. Now I'm gonna highball it, because Oda did say that if what's the name was on the East Blue, his bounty would be like 500 million berries. So I'm gonna highball it and say that around this time right now is that Luffy, around the much trouble he caused on Sabaody, coming back from Sabaody, and then on the Fishman Island and getting news that he beats Fishman Island and stuff like that. Yes, Luffy's bounty would be high. I don't even want to get into it, but let's just say his bounty is around 5.5 billion berries. Yes. 5.5 billion berries. Luffy has nothing to deal with. Yeah, over that time skip, yeah. And it's one thing that I would love to mention is that Luffy awakened his devil fruit. Yes, he awakened his devil fruit. As long as that's how he awakened his devil fruit, and you finna see some devastating stuff. It's not gonna be unrealistic as to what you see in the manga, stuff like that. But Luffy's devil fruit basically ability is gonna be powerful as fuck, and it's gonna show you some abilities that he can do. Now, with that being said, Luffy basically goes to Dressrosa. Everything plays out normal and all that kind of stuff. He meets his brother after so long. And this is where he thought Sabo was dead. And Sabo would even met Ace. Now, with that being said, Sabo had some news to relate to him that he said that what's the name is no longer in charge. I mean, what you mean? Well, the emperor. The four emperors, well, your brother is now an emperor. And this is where he would say, not your brother, our brother is now an emperor. And he would say, wait, Ace has become an emperor? And he's also become the captain of the Whitebeard pirates. And this is where Luffy would be shocked by this. And he would say, so basically they're the Ace pirates now. Well, they just keep the Whitebeard name for stories because dear old Whitebeard has passed away. And this is where Luffy would just feel a sigh by this, and he was hoping to fight Whitebeard in a battle. But nonetheless, he was looking forward to fighting his brother. So with that being said, everything plays out with that until Doflamingo comes into the picture with him fighting Law and slamming on the ground. This is where Luffy would appear right out there with him. Like, Doflamingo would be shocked by this, but in an instant, Luffy punches Doflamingo in the stomach. And Doflamingo feels like his body is getting torn from the inside and he gets slit through multiple buildings. Now, this is where Luffy appears right behind Doflamingo and punches him directly in the back. Now, Doflamingo uses his strength to try to swipe at Luffy, but Luffy dodges that very easily, grabs Doflamingo by the leg and starts swinging him around like he has this chain, this lightning chain. Starts swinging Doflamingo around, and in an instant grabs the chain with two hands and slams him in the ground, creating a huge crater, and these cracks get sent out throughout all the city. Now, this is where people start to panic and stuff start to go array, and Doflamingo and his family starts to sense this, and they start to come to try to aid Doflamingo, to which the Straw Hats basically get into battle mode. Now, with that being said, Zoro would intercept some of them. Basically, Luffy knows what's going on in Dressrosa. He knows what happened. He knows the history behind it, and he's gonna make Doflamingo pay for it. He looks at Doflamingo as Doflamingo gets up and says, "Straw Hat." And this is where Luffy would say, you know something? People like you should not exist in this world. I don't care what kind of reasoning you had. Everyone in this town is living a fake life. This is where Luffy would raise his hand to the sky and he would say, you knew what you were doing. I don't care even if you were a kid. As Luffy's hat is tilting on his eye, and you can only see, basically, the shadow is covering Luffy's face, but you can only see one eye showing, as Luffy is not showing a happy face. Luffy is serious with this, and he reaches his hand to the sky, and he says, El Thor, as a beam of light would shoot down on Sugar, incinerating her completely dead. And everyone in the village turns back to normal. This is where Doflamingo is looking around and saying, what? How did you... Luffy would look at Doflamingo and all of a sudden be right there in front of him and punch him directly in the stomach as Doflamingo coughs up more blood. But then Doflamingo does something desperate and creates the bird cage. This is where Luffy would say, how desperate of you. But doesn't matter. If I kill you, the bird cage would disappear, right? This is where Luffy would then create these after images of himself. Basically surrounding Doflamingo with a whole bunch of clone Luffys, and both of them all of them are just tag teaming Doflamingo. Doflamingo using everything in his arsenal, but then he uses strings that has hockey over them and basically managed to catch Luffy off guard and pierce him directly in his leg. Now this is where Luffy would take the blunt of that attack, but then basically phase away and then go straight towards Doflamingo, to which Doflamingo would touch the ground and try to block himself with multiple strings. Now, most of Doflamingo's crew would be dealt with very easily. The Straw Hats are on a level that they cannot, basically, it's just a one-sided battle right now. So, with Luffy and Doflamingo's battle, as they're two tag teaming and just going at it, Luffy creates this huge lightning dragon and basically slams it on Doflamingo. Doflamingo screams out in pain as he coughs up blood, but then he rushes at Luffy and then throws multiple strings his way. Doflamingo's angered by this. How is this brat? How is he just annihilating all my plans in an instant? And this is where Luffy says, isn't it funny how things turn right back on you? Isn't it funny how life hits you just same way you hit the king? This is where Luffy tells everyone everything that happened. Everything that happened. Everyone knows. And they see that Doflamingo is a monster. And this is where everyone in there sees that Luffy. Rebecca even comes up and sees that everything Luffy has done. He told her when he was in the tournament, don't worry. In an instant, everyone here is going to get saved. Even you, Rebecca. I promise you, you won't ever feel this kind of despair again. And I'm going to get your memories back, because it kind of seems that you forgot that that statue right there is your father. And this is where Luffy would walk away. He already gave Sabo the opportunity to get the flame. Well, not flame fruit. He just met Sabo there because Ace is already alive. I don't know what I was going off on that. Anyway, so with that being said, it's been a while since I touched upon this series. But anyway, after that being said, Luffy's battle with Doflamingo, as Doflamingo seeing everything play out, it is the same thing that he did to the king when he was making the king, manipulating the king like a puppet, killing all his subordinates, killing his citizens and stuff like that as the king was crying, making him do that. This is where Doflamingo is seeing his mistakes, basically, not mistakes, but he's seeing the same thing he did getting repeated back to him. Basically, what Luffy has done is just dismember Doflamingo's kingdom within an instant, just like Doflamingo did to the king. And this is where Luffy is smiling at him, basically laughing at Doflamingo like he's a joke, bouncing around and like lightning, just skipping around, and then he kicks Doflamingo directly in the face. Now, this is where Luffy looks at Doflamingo with a serious expression on his face and tells him that you're a fool. You think that submitting this whole town to your psychotic rule will help you obtain or basically rule over the world. Now, Luffy looks at Doflamingo and says, people like you make me sick. As he rushes at Doflamingo and unleashes a fury of lightning-based attacks before Luffy then says, disappear. As his hand is right in front of Doflamingo, and then he says, 2 million bolt variety. And he releases this huge blast that incinerates Doflamingo. Now, Doflamingo lies on the ground, charred. no life, no, basically nothing in him. Basically, Doflamingo is defeated. The birdcage dismembles, and that's it. Now, with that, Fujitora didn't really have to get into much, but Luffy would have had told Fujitora that you're on the wrong side, that you're supporting a corrupted man in a corrupted kingdom. You're supposed to be an admiral. Now, Fujitora would then say that Straw Hat, you're under arrest, but he would try to do his whole, meteor thing with that. But Luffy would basically kick Fujitora through multiple buildings. Fujitora would block this with his blade, but the kick would be devastating as it sent lightning currents throughout his body and everything. So he would get flown back through multiple buildings. And he would have to report that back to, I think it's not Aokiji. Aokiji. I might got it wrong to who the name was that ate the magma no mi. Remind me in the comments below. But anyway, with that being said, with all that being said, Luffy basically saves Dressrosa from despair, from depression, all that kind of stuff. Dressrosa is returned by normal, and Luffy tells them everything, and he even tells them that Dressrosa is going to be under his protection, and Fishman Island is going to be under his protection. And Luffy then tells them that once he comes back, he's going to show the Fishman the real world. He's going to bring them to the real world. Now, basically take them to the top level. I don't know how else to pronounce that, but he basically is going to come back, and you already know what's going to happen to Fishman Island. It's not going to be there no more because Luffy's going to destroy it, and everyone from Fishman Island is going to live on the world, on the surface. With that being said, everything plays out with the whole Punk Hazard, Dressrosa. So Luffy basically saved 2 towns. Well, 2 islands. Now we go to the 4 Emperors arc. And this is the first arc that we go towards is we're heading into the Big Mom arc. And it starts the feud between Sanji and Luffy, but Luffy would still do that same thing that he did in canon. Once everything played out normal and they went through the whole Zoan and all that kind of stuff like that, we get to the main part, and the stuff that I really like to talk about is when Luffy gets to the island and he has his whole fight. Every fight that he had with Cracker and all them it wouldn't have done that much damage to Luffy. Luffy would have beat the hell out of them very easily, very fast too. Now his Haki, he's already proficient in Haki and already has the advanced state of Haki. Already has future foresight, good and steady. So yeah, with everything being said, he makes quick work of them. But he still lets the same thing happen to him because he doesn't. He's not finna hurt his teammates again. I mean, of course he is, but at the same time, Luffy just proving a point saying that you can kick me however many times you want, but at the end of the day, the only person that's gonna hurt is you. So with that being said, we're gonna end this part off here because I am still gauging interest and seeing if you guys still like this what if and still interested in it. So without any further ado, you guys have a good day, a good night, and plus ultra. Good night, guys.
君の虜になって